Here we go. So on the back side, we're doing composition of functions. Okay, it looks scary. It's not actually that difficult. So here's what the problem is going to look like. It'll be G open circle. It's not an O. It's a little open circle. F of 3. Okay, or more commonly, it's going to look like this. G of F of 3. Yesterday in our notes, we did this problem. We did F of 3 yesterday all day long. Okay, so here's the key for today. Start with the number, which in this case is 3, and you're going to look what function is right next to it. In this case, it's the letter F. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 and plug it in to whatever's right in front of it. So I'm going to take this 3 and plug it into F. So here's F right here. I'm going to take 3 and plug it in right there for X. I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to plug it in right there for X. What's 3 squared get me? 9. Super. We got that number. That's not the answer. That's just what this is. That's what 3 of F is. Or F of 3, sorry. Once we get that part, we are taking this answer and plugging it into the equation before it. So we're going to take this answer of 9, and now we're going to plug that into G. So I'm plugging it in down here for G. Right there for X, I am going to plug in the number 9. When you plug in the number 9 right there, it's now 9 plus 1. The answer is 10. That's the concept. Let's put it into practice. Here's your two functions. Letter A says find F of G of 2. Start off with the number. Look at what letter is right in front of it. So this 2 right here is going to go with which letter, or into which equation? G. So the first thing we're doing is exactly what we did yesterday, which is finding G of 2. Okay, so for us, that means we are taking the number 2 and we are plugging it in right there into the G equation. So my problem is going to look like this. 4 minus 1, where that X was, I am plugging in the number 2. Okay, it's replacing the X. 2 is going in for X. I'm going to do that problem now. 4 times 2 is 8, minus 1 is 7. That is not the answer to this problem. What we have done so far is this G of 2 part. That's all we've done so far. Once we've gotten that answer, what letter is still left over? The F part. Okay, I still got to do this F part. I still need to find now this plugged into F. Or in other words, I need to now find F of 7. So I'm going to rewrite this problem right here, but instead of this X, I'm going to replace it with the number 7. So it's 7 plus 3, so my final answer is 10. Okay, so again, here's the fast-forwarded version. I did lots of work there. Here's the fast-forwarded version. Take 2, plug it into G. 4 times 2 is 8, minus 1 is 7. Once you get that answer, you plug it into F. 7 plus 3 is 10. Done. Try letter B on your own. G of F of negative 5. Try it on your paper. Here we go, G of F of negative 5. So we're starting off with this number. Robbie, where am I going to plug that negative 5 into? He's going to take that negative 5 and plug it into F. So he is finding F of negative 5. So where this X was right here, he is putting a negative 5 in its spot. So he gets negative 5 plus 3, which gets you negative 2. Super. He gets negative 2. That is not his answer. That's what this is. Once he has found that's negative 2, he's going to plug it into which equation? He's going to take it and plug it into the equation before it, which in this case is G. So he is now doing the problem G of negative 2. He's taking negative 2 and plugging it in right there. So his new answer is going to be 4 times negative 2 minus 1. He plugged a negative 2 in right there. So 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Minus 1 is negative 9. So the number part is easy. It gets a little bit harder when we're dealing with something like this. Letter C says find F, open circle, G of X. That little open circle just means we are plugging something in there. Okay? That open circle means something's got to go in that spot to fill it up. Okay? This right here is exactly the same thing as this. F open circle g of x is the same thing as that. Okay, it's like these two things mean the same, right? 3 times 2 and 3 times 2. They just have two different ways of writing it. So don't let the other way mess you up. So f of g of x. So here's the key. We're going to start on the inside again. Now it just says x, which really means it's easier because I don't have to plug anything in. It's just x. On the inside here, it is g of x. I am starting with this function right here. I am starting with 2x minus 5. Which equation is that g, or is that 2x minus 5 going to go into? The one in front of it. What's in front of it? F. So this right here is going to be plugged into F. Okay? Or in other words, this whole thing right here is going to go into the other problem where that x was. It's replacing the x in the other problem with 2x minus 5. So the problem said x plus 5, but we're taking this right here and plugging it in for x. So my new problem now is this, 2x minus 5 plus 5. What is 2x minus 5 plus 5 going to get me? 2x, because those two things cancel. That's it. It's not any different. It's just taking that whole equation, plugging it into the other equation. Try letter D on your own. G of f of x. G of f of x. So Ty, which equation are we starting with if we're doing g of f of x? We're going to start with f. So we're starting with the inside. He's taking this equation right there. And which equation are you plugging that into? Into g. So it's going to be g of f of x, which is that x plus 5. Or in visual form, it is taking this right here, going into that equation, and replacing that x with it. So my problem is really going to be 2 minus 5, and where that x was, he is going to plug in that x plus 5. So what do I need to do in order to simplify then? Distribute 2x plus 10 minus 5, and then plus 10 and minus 5 would be 2x plus 5. Questions there? Pull out your whiteboards from underneath your desk. I'm not giving you homework tonight. Okay, your homework is working with me for the next 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to practice this together to make sure we understand what's going on. So today, you've got 3 equations right here. You've got an F, a G, and an H. I'm going to write down examples. You're going to work them out and see how you do. We'll start easy and we'll get a little bit harder as we go. So to find F of G, or F's, G's, and H's here, let's do this one to start. Let's find G of F of 2. Find G of F of 2 on your board. We start off on the inside. We're doing F of 2. So we're taking 2 and we're plugging it in right there. So this problem is now 3 times 2, which is 6. That's great, but we haven't done the outside yet. We now want to take that answer and plug it into the equation before it. So I'm going to do G of 6. So I'm taking 6, and I am plugging it in right there for x. So it is 2 times 6 plus 4. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 4 is 16. Just follow your steps. Plug it in, get an answer, plug it in, get an answer. Let's do the next one. Let's find G of H of 1. G of H of 1. Find that answer. Here we go. G of H of 1. So we're starting off with the number 1, and we're plugging it into the equation before it, which is H. So it is 1 squared minus 1. I'm plugging it in right there. 1 squared is 1. Minus 1 is 0. Once we get that answer, we are still doing what's in front of that. So we're taking that 0 and plugging it into the G equation. So when we plug in 0 right there, it's 2 times 0 plus 4. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. Next one here, let's solve this. Let's find F of G of X. No, I'm going to change it. Let's do this one instead. Let's do f open circle g of x. Do that problem instead. Do that second one instead. What's different besides that top equation and that bottom equation? Nothing. They're exactly the same. Don't let that discourage you because there's an open circle there. That open circle means the exact same thing. Find f of g of x. F of g of x. Which equation are we starting with? G. This right here. This equation, which one am I plugging it into? Into f. I'm taking this whole thing, g of x, which is this right here, and I am plugging it into f and replacing that x right there. So my problem is going to be 3 times 2x plus 4. Now all I need to do is distribute. It is 6x plus 12. Make sure we're plugging in for x, and the x is going away. Let's do another one. Let's do this one. Let's go g of h of x. G of h of x. Try that one. G of h of x. Evan, which equation am I starting with? H. He's starting with this right here. Starting with h of x. Which equation are you then going to plug that into? Into g. So he's taking that whole thing and putting it right there. That whole thing and going in there. So it's now going to be 2 plus 4. And where that x used to be, x squared minus 1 is going to go in its spot. So all I need to do here is distribute and then combine like terms. That's my final answer. Questions there? Let's do one last one. Last one. It'll look hard. It's not. Here we go. Let's find f of g of h of 2. F of g of h of 2. Just do your rules. It looks scary. It's not. Know what you're supposed to do. Plug in, get an answer, plug in, get an answer, plug in, get an answer. See what you can do.